gente! You already know who it is. It's the radioactive pop with Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance blog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Poppy.
Okay, guys, we're back. Did you miss us? Because we missed you.
Rules?
There are no rules.
What rules?
This is a revolution, damn it!
You'll hear things you've never heard before.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Who are those guys?
And then there's the other guys.
We're the other guys. We're the guys nobody ever bets on.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
It's time for the Other Alliance Guys podcast with your hosts, Tim, Dave, and Jeremy.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And what can we tell you? We are the Other Alliance Guys, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, baby. Your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance, the United Wrestling Network, and various independents around the world with the name wrestling in them. My name is Tim. I am joined by Dave Scooby, our fantasy booker. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well,
Fantastic.
Spring is finally sprung.
Yep.
So,
looking good out there, finally.
yep.
And our brother in pod, Championship Wrestling from Jeremy. How are you, Mr. Miller?
I am doing much better than I was feeling the last 2 days.
How you been down with the flu?
I caught something and it I felt like I got hit by a train there for about 2 days, but
You had the summer complaints.
What's that?
The summer complaints, as they say in the South. Look at this. Today marks the Alliance Blog's 7th year on YouTube.
Wow. So this is like an anniversary show.
It is. And the Reluchador wishes us a happy anniversary. Thank you. Willie Bowen. Hey, Tyrus is going to be in a movie version of Baywatch. You guys hear about this? It's going to play that old salvage boat that they explored and rescue scene.
I got a heads up earlier this morning in the UWN live chat. Willie told me that he had some breaking news. So this is definitely newsworthy. Thanks for sharing, sir. I look forward to seeing what his fat ass can do.
Yeah, absolutely. You know why I'm wearing these glasses, Jeremy?
Why?
Because I know that you're going to talk about Memphis today, and I'm excited. About your full Memphis report, right?
No.
Is there not a new Memphis Heritage Champion? I'm sure you want to tell us all about later.
I didn't watch.
Neither did I.
I'm still not watch. I'm still sore about fucking Tumor not getting a shot. Fucking gun show Hogan and his way through their entire roster. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, did Tumor ever get the title? I think he did, didn't he? Finally.
Yeah, but he didn't get to hold it long. I don't believe.
No, once it wasn't him. It was gun show. I just went out.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it anymore, but. What are we talking about today, fellas? We're going to look at NWA JCP Southeast, episode 66 from the NWA territories, allegedly the best of the best from the NWA territories, JCP. Jeremy's going to give us championship wrestling review from the UWN. And where are my banners? It's crazy. And Dave's going to talk about, he left this very vague for me, but it is Thom Latimer facing Matt Cardona at MLP. Maple Leaf Pro in Montreal on July 5th. And has some thoughts for that. So that's exciting. I'm excited by that. I might try to convince the Reluchador to go see that. Should probably. What? Yeah, she's gonna go. She'll go to Montreal. It's the comments. That's why. All right, so why don't we get into it? As every good podcast who's been on the air for 10 minutes or so loves to say, let's actually get into it quick. We are talking about NWA-Joe Cazana Promotions Southeast, episode 66 from May 29th, so just a couple of days ago, guys. Live out of Knoxville, Tennessee, at the Ashes Beer Market. So this is an outdoor event. It's clear that they were an attraction inside one of the beer tent halls. Big thing up here. You guys probably have them too. It's kind of like Oktoberfest when of course you do. Yeah. It's from Knoxville, Tennessee. It didn't seem to be a huge crowd there, but I think it's kind of an in and out thing. And, I'm willing to just kind of, we weren't meant to pack the house here. They were meant to draw people in over the few hours I'm sure that they were there. But same opening package. Always loved the opening package, boys. And we start with a quick interview from one of our two hosts. Our two hosts are Dan Matthews, the voice of JCP SE, and Danny Deals. Dan Matthews has Zuka King and Dalton McKenzie, two big hosses who are going to fight each other later today. They have a quick interview, Dave. They got a few things to say to each other, and basically it's what you would expect, like what they say about how they're going to beat each other up. But any initial thoughts on the quick interview?
I thought it was good. It leaves you wanting more. It's one of these things of let's get to the point and then get to the matches. It's giving you a taste of what's in store. You don't want something that's long and drawn out.
Right.
You want the amended version, the short version. Hey, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you. We're going to beat each other up, and may the best man win, and I'm the best man. Next. Right.
What do you think, Jeremy? Is he telling you the truth, or is he saying that because Joe Cazana is holding a phaser at his head in the top corner of the screen?
Oh, it's definitely the phaser at the head. Whenever I saw Dan Williams, I got like a teammate, a Timu Dave Marquez vibe.
Oh yeah. Dan Matthews, yeah.
Yeah. Also, the our opponent in the first match, the Max Abel guy, he gave me Timu Paul Walter Hauser vibes.
Paul Walter Hauser gives me Timu Paul Walter Hauser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it got to the point, right? Like Dave said, it's just they're gonna beat each other up in the main event tonight.
Yeah.
Speaking of Max Abel, he's taking on the returning Gustavo, who's been away, they say, for about a year. We remember Gustavo from the NWA a couple of years ago, the Latin lover.
Yeah.
He hands out the roses. He's kind of acrobatic. He looks like the crowd's into him. He gives a kid a rose. He gives this leather man a rose.
Very, very suggestively at that.
Very suggestively. Hey, listen, all love is good love. And he gets in the ring with the angry, yelling Max Abel, and he beats him in two moves. It's about a 15, 20-second match, and it's over. He gives it a crossbody off the top, and then this kind of, I forget what they call it. It's almost like a sliced bread kind of thing. Pins him. It's over, and I thought, it's one of the matches we're going to get tonight. But Carson Drake comes out with the Troublemakers, your NWA World Television Champion. If you like or dislike Carson Drake, I'll say this. This is Carson Drake at his absolute best. he was, just from my opinion, he was funny. He was sharp. He worked the crowd. He was completely insufferable. There's a female referee, and he's like, "Are you not gonna, hold the ropes?" And then he gets in and like, "Aren't you gonna hold the ropes for the troublemakers?" And this is why we pay her less, And the crowd just is like, "Oh, boo!" So a lot of quips. I thought he was very funny for being outside in this beer tent, and he offers a bunch of different jokes about. He didn't bring the belt because it would get stolen in this podunk town, and he made some joke about like the kids being ugly and the adults are all obese, and he praises Gustavo, saying great match. He offers him a match now, and if Gustavo can pin him, then he'll get an NWA TV title shot. He'll get an NWA contract, and Carson Drake will pay the beer tab for everybody here right now, which ought to tell you that Gustavo's not going to win. But Carson jumpstarts him when he agrees, and then distracts the refs as the troublemakers mob him. He does the Carson shuffle and that punch that he does, that falling John Cena 5-knuckle shuffle thing. This is really a decent showing by Gustavo, who seems a little heavier than I remember him being before. And no judgment, no judgment. But in the end, Drake eats a boot with a second rope Carson shuffle fist drop. He gets hit with a crossbody. Gustavo tries to hit that sliced bread finisher, but Carson kind of mule kicks him in the nuts, and he gets DQ'd. And Carson takes the mic and says, "Great job, you won. But I did say you had to pin me." Oh, ho, 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 ho. And he gets punched in the face. Seems like it might set up something, Dave, for next episode or a couple episodes down the road where Gustavo chases him and tries to get that title shot. What did you think?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing that if they're sending out talent from the NWA, have them be associated in the territories with one or two wrestlers. So when they do make a stop, there's either a storyline that they're involved with, like Carson's involved with the troublemakers. So It's like, okay, he has some attachment to the local talent, and line in place with Gustavo. So it's one of these things, as talent from the NWA travels the territories, the storyline is already there. They don't have to, I'm facing wrestler A and I've never faced him before, but he won a 20-man battle royal to face me for a title. It's telling a story that they can stretch it out. If they do twice a month tapings or events, the storyline can play on, whether it be just a promo or it be an actual match. So I think it's a good deal. And I sort of like how they're doing Carson coming in after a match and then going, oh, well, hey, I'll face you for this. Or he faces somebody, puts them out of their misery, and then goes, hey, send me someone else from the back. I got 6 minutes to burn. Let's go. That they're playing into his character. So it's good to see his character be the same asshole that he is on the NWA shows on Power, that when he goes to the territories, he's the same thing. It's not a 180 difference.
Jeremy, I wish he'd had the World TV title with him. It's interesting how Jake Hall just bought a ring-used NWA World title belt, and Carson didn't have his on the show.
He did appear to have a very expensive-looking fucking sweater draped over his shoulders. So there may be something to that. I wrote down for this the voice, the cronies, the sweater over the shoulders like the douchey preppy in all the 80s teen comedies, the stupid shuffle. Good Lord, do I hate this character. Drake gets it. He needs polishing, but only 4 years in, he knows this character, and he's a heat magnet, good on the mic and in ring. And they played this match out great. I clicked on the pin me line whenever he was proposing the match, but by the time they got to the finish, I had forgotten that. But as soon as he hit that low blow, it snapped, and I was like, that motherfucker. It was just long enough to push that out of my head. I clicked on it, like I said, but the match went just long enough to push that out of my head. But as soon as it hit, I was like, you motherfucker. You sneaky little shit. But I like what Dave said about him getting in trouble with the troublemakers. Maybe he hits a bad streak and can't afford to fucking pay him or something, down the road, and you end up turning around and turning on him. I like that storyline. You should visit that one, Dave.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? Like I said, great storytelling, and what we didn't like the first or second time around, I think the first about JCP was that there was audio problems and there were lighting problems, and they were neither here, and they're outside, and the weather was good.
Yeah.
So for this little spot show that they got rigged up in Knoxville, it's pretty good so far.
Yeah.
Then we kind of get a main event, right? Because it's only about a 35-minute, 36-minute show.
Nice and tight show.
Yeah, nice and tight, yeah. Zuka King versus Dalton McKenzie. These are two big boys. I look at Dalton McKenzie and I go, this guy played football. Like, he has to have. I didn't look him up, but he's just built like a football player, like a power lifter.
He reminded me a lot of Teets. Fucking Bad Dude Tito, size-wise and style-wise, too, a lot.
Yeah. He's got that form. I also liked his theme song. It was when I was a kid dreaming about being a wrestler someday, and that was never going to happen. That was my theme song. I wanted that theme song. It was Queen's "I Want It All."
Yep, that's a fucking great song.
Great song. Look at big men slapping meat, as we like to say around the Alliance. A couple of spots I thought were pretty cool was the DDT on the apron through the ropes by Zuka. It looked like he splatted that head down. I'm sure he didn't. But it looked great. The belly to belly, like Dalton McKenzie. I always want to say Castle. Dalton McKenzie. The belly to belly over the top on Zuka. He makes Zuka look small, and Zuka's not small.
No.
He is a big man. I like that. Both men really worn out by this match right now, and Danny Deal's going, oh yeah, these guys are totally gassed.
I think Danny was fucking gassed at that point, but that's a whole different subject.
Yeah. So look, superplex by McKenzie. Whatever they call the rock bottom in actual form from Zuka, but there's a spear in the end by Dalton. I hate the spear, but it's good for him. It's in the same way as a bone breaker. It's good for. It's a 3 count. What'd you think, Jeremy? Did you dig this one?
I did. I've got that. Dalton is a big ass guy, and I'm going to be looking up his tag matches. With the veteran Jack Vaughn as the JV team. Commentary mentioned that. I'm a big Jack Vaughn fan. I like his no fucking thigh slaps. And
is that what they said? I didn't catch that. I caught that he was in a tag team, but it's Jack Vaughn?
Yeah. Yep. The veteran Jack Vaughn. No fucking thigh slaps. The last professional wrestler. And I dig that guy. He gets... Yeah. He gets some shit online I've seen, and it's misplaced. I feel, so I'm going to be looking that up. But I also wrote, this is exactly what they advertised, a hoss fight between two former tag partners who had some shit to work out. I enjoyed the pacing of it. Zuka was working the crowd, especially the hard cam front row. That lady on the right side of the hard cam, he went to her a couple of different times, and she immediately responded. And I got a kick out of that. It was a good match that made sense. The crowd was into it the whole time, and I'd like to see more of these two work. So I'm going to go back and try and find their tag team shit and see what they were doing in the past together.
Yeah. Spot show or not, Dave, I thought it was one of the best territory shows I've seen so far.
Oh yeah, definitely. Good back and forth by both guys. They had a good series of comebacks on each other. But I mean, King trying to use the knuckles, pulling it out of the kites, trying to use it, and it backfired. But it's one of these things that, I mean, Danny Deals is Danny Deals. He's like, yeah, they were gassed. Well, it's one of these things that as a singles wrestler, you're used to wrestling all the time. But as a tag wrestler, your time is cut in half. Unless you're the person that gets in there and takes all the punishment and then goes for the hot tag, you're wrestling literally half the time with a tag partner. So wrestling on your own, it's an adjustment. And even though it's maybe just a 10 to 12 minute match, going to the outside, there were no mats on the outside. It was in a parking lot. Or it was, I mean, it was concrete or asphalt or whatever. There were no mats. So they were keeping it in the ring most of the time for the action and only getting out of the ring to break things up. But if you ever wrestled or even attempted to wrestle, you don't realize how long a minute is, let alone 5 or 10 minutes. That you can get gassed if you're not used to the cardio that you go through. And like I said before, as a tag partner, you're wrestling half the time or even 3/4 of the time, but you're not having to put in 100% of, I can go back to my corner, but there's nobody there. This is all on me. So this was one of those matches that, okay, it highlights them, and I can just, I'm looking forward to this story continuing and seeing where it goes. But I'm watching him and I'm like, man, I go, this guy looks familiar. He's a big hoss guy, and then I'm like, he's part of the JV team. They were in the Battle Royal at Crockett Cup.
Yeah.
And I remember him and Jack Vaughn, and I'm like, okay, cool. So it's one of those things. It's good to see other wrestlers being highlighted, and even though it's a singles match and he's a tag partner, sometimes you have to go outside of the storyline or outside of what's actually happening, and then hearing that, oh, these guys were former tag partners, that's where the story is.
Right.
If they're finishing up, there's a reason they're former tag partners, that somebody did something to somebody else and they're telling the story, whether it's finished or it continues. I think both these guys did a very good job in wrestling storytelling. So we'll see where it goes. If it goes on, it goes on. If not, they've wrapped up their story and on to bigger and better things.
Yeah. This is the second or third time we've come around. I think maybe the second.
Yes.
To Joe Cazana Promotions. Would watch again. You know, that's my Yelp review. Watch Papa Joe. If I had a one takeaway though that detracted from me, hate to find something, can't just be positive. But the finish, the last like 4 minutes of the show is always Aaron Stevens and Joe talking about, you know, can we have some donations on PayPal, and I don't know, man. Set up a Patreon. Like that's like just seems like a better idea to me. There's almost 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so maybe we people have success that way, and I like it's just something I click off rather than you could have filled those 4 to 6 minutes at the end with more match time or another interview or something. If there was a standing way that you could give them some of your money, freestanding from that. That's just my only thought. But it was good. It was good, and we dug it. Let's move on then. Let us go to a segment we call. Oh wait, because I know we're talking about Memphis. I know Jeremy just fooled. We call Championship Wrestling from Jeremy, baby.
Attention, everyone. One. School is in session. Oh boy, is this great!
Let me talk to you.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
It's time for Championship Wrestling from Jeremy.
There was a time where are you? You're over here. There was a time where we talked about Memphis. But I understand, like, Psycho Hamburglar is now the champ down there. I forget his name, like Jimmy or Stu or something. What's that guy's name? He's like Pixie Jim. I forget. He used to be with, like, Psycho. I cannot remember their names clearly.
The posse guy?
Simon. Is he the big one?
Yeah.
All right, he's the champ now.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's Memphis. Moving on.
Jimmy
Thanks for
Blaylock.
that update there, pal.
Yeah, these are my Jimmy Blaylock sunglasses. I should wear these more often. My wife hates them, though. What's going on in the world of the United Wrestling Network beyond Memphis?
So the show this week kicked off with Todd Keneally and Christian Cole on commentary showing us a clip from last week of the attack on Scorpio Sky by Baby Slim after Sky's victory over Kenny King to become the #1 contender. I'm unfamiliar with who Baby Slim is, and with that said, this was a great introduction. The attack, the fired up promo, explained their former connection, why he's upset with Sky. It displayed his intensity, and he got some crowd work in there as well. I have to see these two square off now. So it did exactly what it was supposed to do. We then go to a match with Matt Vandegrift facing off against a returning Jordan Cruz, who I popped for as soon as his music hit. I popped before he even came out. And his name showed up on the banner. He had been out, and I was unaware that he had been out since October with a fibula break. That's a pretty nasty and painful break that can take up to 6 months to fully recover. Vandegrift is a student of the Santino brothers, according to Cage Match, and a part of the New Japan Strong Dojo, as stated by commentary. And he's got 8 years in the business as a tag and singles wrestler. Cruz was the victor in this, and was the victor in his return from injury, which was the foundation for the story these two told during the match. Vandegrift focused very early on that leg, and Cruz did a really good job of selling it the entire match, and that was the go-to point for pretty much every attack, and it made for a good match. Early on, though, in the match, that weird-ass cryptic guy showed up again at ringside. Vandegrift kind of was the only one that kind of acknowledged him, and he just kind of, I think he caught him out of his peripheral at one point over his shoulder and then kind of glanced back a couple of times, but that was the extent of it. He never actually confronted the guy or anything. The commentary acknowledged it as well, but again, no clue who he's scouting. He could be scouting both competitors. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
We then go to a video package. Jack Farmer is here to announce per Nico Marquez that the next match in the start of the UW is the start of the UWN Showcase, where they give us matches from stars all around the wrestling world. And the first match is a true Forbidden Door match. We get AEW versus WWE in AEW's The Dragon Master Brandon Cutler versus WWE ID Ice Williams. When Cutler came out, he had on a very impressive dragon-shaped full fucking mask. At first, I thought it was like 3D printed because it looked rigid. But then when he went to take it off, you could see it flex a little bit, and it looked like it was like lucha-esque fucking constructed.
Right. That's awesome.
It was badass. As badass as it looked, I immediately, though, internally was screaming in my best fucking ogre impression, nerd! But Cutler, having 20 years in the business, led Williams through part of this match, and together they put on a good match. I've been vocal in the past here, my dislike for Cutler, but I can't deny his ability. The back and forth build up to the end was nice, with both men looking for the other to slip up just once, and that was exactly what happened. Ice thought he had Cutler wobbly enough and came off the ropes for a crossbody, but Cutler caught him and delivered the total party killer double knees to the ribs for the win. Good match, solid. Like I said, I gotta give him his due respect here. He led this guy through it, not completely, but you could see parts where he was, we need to go do this and everything, and it was well done. I was impressed. We then finished it off with the UWN World Television title match main event between main event Evan Daniels and champion Zicky Dice. I want to start off this match review with this statement: cool it with the main event shite. Between main event Jay Uso, main event BS Bradley Skimmerhorn.
So that made me think of, yeah.
And now MEED Evan Daniels, knock it off already. But Daniels took advantage of Zicky having his back turned, mugging for the crowd, and got the jump on him before the bell rang. Zicky had a hard time putting together anything to get the upper hand in this match. Daniels maintained control for the majority of the match, but had a hard time keeping Zicky on the mat for the three. Daniels finally resulted to a low blow, while the second ref of the match was tending to the first ref, who was taken out after Zicky kicked out, causing Daniels to come down on the ref's back. Kind of a hinky-ish finish with Daniels unnaturally coming off of a kick out. I mean, Zicky's bigger guy than Daniels is, but he's not Brock Lesnar fucking pressing somebody off of him and shooting him 3 feet in the air like that.
Sure.
Other than that, though, like I said, it was a good match. I enjoyed how they put it together. There's no match of the week this week. The show overall was damn good. So it's the winner for the week. If you're not watching the UWN and all of its affiliate products, like I've said in the past, you're like me, because I ain't fucking watching Memphis either. Maybe one day.
Well, if you had been watching Memphis, Jeremy, you would have seen this. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
I guess it ain't my money. It ain't my money. That's all I'm saying.
You're our UWN resident guy. I have a question for you that's been troubling the internet for some time now.
Okay.
Is there any truth to the fact that Gilbert?
Hey, whoa. Hang on. So just to put this in context, what this fucking goof troop's about to put back into the universe again, okay? Earlier in one of our discords that we frequent, I saw this, and it came through yesterday evening. And could you imagine the team of Ellsworth and Gilbert hashtag unstoppable? What the actual fuck? Look, I know that one of your kids is works at a dispo, whatever you think. What did he bring home for you that brought this fucking? This was my response. Okay, everybody. For the love of Pete Rose, why would you type that into existence? There is now a parallel universe where the two of those knob weasels are talked about with the same respect and reverence. We talk about the likes of Piper, Race, Thez, Bockwinkel, Flair. Do you realize what you created, Tim?
Ellsworth and Gilbert would be the greatest tag team of this millennium. Hey, listen, you can't talk to handsome Timmy Blaylock like that. I think this is the short. I think this is the short, Jeremy.
Look, I've got to get this back on the fucking rails, okay? If you're not watching the UWN, you're fucking off your rocker like Tim is with this fucking Gilbert fucking Ellsworth unstoppable fucking bullshit. What the hell, man? Love you, buddy.
I love you too, man. I mean, I was just kidding around, but unstoppable. Yeah, no, that would be incredibly awful. I agree, but that's the point. Maybe they could face the women's tag team champions. Like Ellsworth was the women's champion down there at one point, wasn't he?
There is precedent for it. God,
there is. Oh, let's see what this is here. I love Big Mama. Viperous and Francis. Yeah. Ricky Dice, as they say in craps, roll the snake eyes.
Willie Bowen would happily be the fucking cream filling in that fucking triple decker Oreo.
I mean,
no double entendre intended there.
None whatsoever.
Now I'm not thinking about what I said.
Ladies, please take your eyes away from the center stage for a moment as we move on into a segment with Dave Scooby we call I Respect You, Booker Man. There's Jeremy. There you go. All right. Well, this is out of control. It's a 39-minute show so far, and it's out of control. Where are we? Okay, great. Dave, you wanted to talk about the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Thom Latimer, taking on Always Ready Matt Cardona at Maple Leaf Pro this July in Montreal. What's on your mind?
Well, it's a battle of current champ versus former champ. It's, like you said, happening July 5th in Montreal. Maple Leaf Pro Resurrection. Now, Latimer already has 2 defenses of the 10 pounds of gold at Maple Leaf Pro. His first was against Bishop Dyer, the former Baron Corbin, March 14th at Mayhem, where he ended up retaining. Then the next night, Latimer tagged with Cardona versus Bishop and Billy Gunn the next night in a losing effort, and Cardona ends up taking the pin. So I'm assuming they're going storyline-wise. We were tag partners, and then Cardona doing his, I gave up the title. I was injured. I never lost the title. You're holding a title that belongs to me.
Right.
So it's good storytelling. The second defense was against Stu Grayson, And if you watched it, I mean, the crowd was totally behind Stu. Thom, as a wrestler from the NWA, it's not because he's an NWA wrestler. It's just the people he's going against when he's at Maple Leaf Pro, that he's the heel no matter what. So it's one of those things that, okay, third time's the charm. You're like, okay, his third defense will be just over a month away, July 5th, in Montreal, versus former NWA champion Matt Cardona, who, quote unquote, never lost the title. He gave it up due to injury. Now, as we're looking at this, we have to look back at the NWA and Cardona's history with the 10 pounds of gold. He ends up winning the title versus Murdoch at the Power Trip tapings in February of 2022, but ends up surrendering it due to an injury at Always Ready pay-per-view on June 11th in 2022 in Knoxville, and this was his pay-per-view that was named after him, Always Ready. I was there at that pay-per-view. It was strange. Due to injury, he gave it up, and I mean, they said 3 to 6 months he'll be out. There's a way to work around him giving up a title, but it's Billy. And I guess Matt Cardona lost his shine when he injured his arm, but he was back about 3 months later, so who knows what would have happened. But in taking the title away, Billy said, we're going to have a 4-way for the 10 pounds of gold, featuring Trevor Murdoch, Nick Aldis, former champion, Tom Latimer, and Sam Shaw, who made his return back to the NWA. Murdoch ends up winning the match and becoming the NWA heavyweight champion. While Cardona sort of falls to the back burner for the time being and comes back at Samhain in Cleveland, confronts Billy about being in the main event, going for the 10 pounds of gold. I was there too. It was very intense watching them in the ring. And it's one of those, he threatens Billy with a chair, and before he can hit Billy, out of nowhere, Camille shows up and spears his ass. And it's one of those things that everybody was just cheering, and it's later on in the main event, it was EC3, who was champion at the time, versus Latimer, and this being Samhain, they came out dressed as Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth. So it's one of these things that Cardona then comes out and tries to exact revenge on Camille and ends up taking out Latimer, who was trying to protect his wife Camille in the ring. So Cardona knocks out Latimer, who then gets pinned by EC3, and EC3 remains the champion. This storyline goes back a couple years, so it's like one of these things that whether you follow the NWA or not, they're putting together little highlights of these guys have met in the past. See what happens July 5th in Montreal that they put together. I don't know if they got with NWA and got some footage or what, but somehow, some way, Maple Leaf Pro has footage of them from the NWA. Wow. So it's a good thing. So if they can work NWA into it, that's cool. If they can have other talent show up in Maple Leaf Pro, or some Maple Leaf Pro talent show up in the NWA, it's a win-win in my eyes. But it's one of these things that they have a history going back, and they're showing this. So Thom ends up beating EC3 at 76 to win the 10 pounds of gold. Thom has had 20-plus title defenses in just over 9 months. But the NWA schedule has not been helping push him as champion due to the time delay that the Power show has. They're 2.5, 3 months behind. So it's one of these things of wherever Thom is going, he's defending. Usually in the summer, he goes over and to England and does a family thing a couple weeks back there. He'll defend the title 2 or 3 times. So we'll see where this goes. Now I'm looking at this. This is what I would do at their match at Resurrection. They have a history, and Cardona is whining, this is a title I never lost. So if at all possible, I'd find a way to get Camille involved, have her show up and show out against Cardona to give Thom the victory. Now this is a flashback to his match at Samhain. It's Payback. So in all of his MLP matches so far, Latimer has been the heel. So him cheating to win, even against Cardona, it's whoever the crowd decides to cheer for and boo. So Cardona is more well known. He has the name value, but I mean, by any means necessary, if you have to cheat to win, do it. Now, this would leave a door open for a Camille return to the NWA, even if it's just for one night. And that one night would be 77.
Oh.
I don't see Cardona taking the title from Thom, but it leaves the door open that if Cardona loses and there's interference, he can always say there's interference. You didn't beat me. I was double teamed, or there was outside interference. Bring back Cardona, have him return at 77, because right now it doesn't look like the NWA has an opponent for Thom Latimer. He defeated Rhino, and Carino was inserted into that match, making it a 3-way. Carino's nowhere to be found now, so who knows what's going to happen. Cardona, as much as people may not like him, he still has some juice left in him as the quote-unquote indie god and the deathmatch king. He's done a lot. The only thing holding the NWA back is their filming schedule and their 2 to 3 month delay. But I mean, if Cardona comes back and loses at 77, that wraps him up and he's done and gone from the NWA. Thank you, and on to bigger and better things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'd like to see more, like I said, more NWA talent and MLP if possible. That'd be more eyes for the NWA if they like what they see on the MLP shows. So it's one of these things that both of the guys who are in charge of these promotions, Scott and Billy, they've worked at TNA, and I think there may have even been some time overlapping where they worked together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things. They both use former TNA talent on their respective shows. They don't have to work as I'm a territory or whatever, but if they can send people back and forth for bigger events, why not? It's just more eyes on both promotions. Now, I do like what Maple Leaf Pro is doing. They're on Triller TV, so I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. There's word on the interwebs of they may be going away, but I'm not really sure.
Oh.
But if you get a chance to watch Maple Leaf Pro, whether it be, I'm not saying go buy illegal beans, but if you know, you know. There's ways to watch things without paying for them. But I'm not sure what Scott is really, if he's just doing this for the time being, or if he's going to be involved with AEW down the line. He may be eyeing talent to either bring to AEW if he does end up going with them. And if so, and Camille's still with AEW,
mm-hmm.
bring Thom in to be with Camille, have a short run, maybe a year. I don't want to see Thom leave the NWA because I think it's been a saving race for him as a wrestler and as a person who has dealt with drugs and alcohol. He's clean and sober and doing the best work in many a year. But I mean, if there's money on the table at AEW and DeMore,
Dave's frozen up on us. Give him a second.
in a time and place that Camille is no longer on AEW, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you can always have Camille return to the NWA and be with Thom as quote unquote his insurance policy. She doesn't have to wrestle if she doesn't want to. Have them come back for a swan song tour if they do decide to do that, or have them just come back and she's the insurance policy for her husband. That the first go around, she was insurance policy for Aldous. Now she'd be back and it's personal because it's her husband. It's not just somebody she's quote unquote paid to protect. It's her quote unquote blood. So it's one of those things of this story has so many different ways it could go. It can wrap up a story for MLP, for the NWA. It can wrap up Cardona's stay there. You can always bring him back down the line, but I think this would be a way to put a bow on the present and then give that present back.
I think that's a great idea.
So it's one of those things of, I hope, knock on wood, somebody's listening and they hear about something I've mentioned and it clicks. Because I think it could really work one way or another, whether it be in the NWA, MLP, or even if down the road Scott gets with AEW and Thom and Camille team up there. That it's one of those things of, it could work, you just have to make it work.
Right. I think those are amazing ideas. A couple of thoughts I had. When I went to the Toronto, the 20-man, what was it called? Northern Rising, to crown the champ that Alexander won. Thom could not get a cheer in that building. But Cardona still some favoriting applause. I think he's probably cooled a little bit in recent months and over the last year, but he's still very popular. And you look at the poster, threw it up earlier. I'll get back to your comment, Willie. But there's the poster. Look who's dead center for Maple Leaf Pro. Now,
yep,
that's Matt Cardona, and you got the champ over to the side, and other talent. PCO gets the big headshot because he's really big in Montreal. So that's it's certainly possible. I think that's, if they can work together like that, I think that's that'd be great. Willie had that comment. I threw it up. What if Hammerstone comes back to challenge Thom Latimer for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship match? You think you see that coming down the road?
I could, but I mean, right now, he went against Thrillbilly, and spoiler alert, if you want to know, I will give you about 10 seconds.
Oh yeah, where's that thing? There you go. Boop, boop, boop.
At Crockett Cup, when they ended up going against each other, Thrillbilly ended up winning, but it was outside interference by the Southern Six, by Kerry and Alex Taylor. So I'm not sure what's up with Hammerstone. I'd love to see him back in the NWA somewhere, somehow. He could be inserted into a match with Thom, but right now the story isn't there. Right. And I mean, the NWA, the only problem I have, they're so far behind on their power episodes, is that they're just now showing Aaron Stevens and Thom Latimer, and that was 3 months ago. So it's one of those things of, Tom's doing a good job defending the title, but the promotion isn't there. The promotion of him having all these different matches isn't there for the NWA. And right now, I don't see anybody inside the NWA that could come after Thom. That they burnt through. I mean, you had Rhino, and that would have been a good match. And then Colby Carino got inserted and made it a three-way. I would have saved Colby for the next go-around. But now, whoever your contenders are, they've already used up their contendership, and now you have to start anew and either bring somebody from the outside in or have your champion go on a 10 pounds of gold tour outside of where the title is actually held, outside of the NWA. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see where they go with this, but I mean, I think wrap up the storyline using the MLP show to wrap it up at 77.
That's a great idea. When is 77? Do we know? I think he froze. But that'll be in summer, because that's sometime later in the summer. Who ate that pin at Crockett Cup? Do we know? Was it Carino who ate that pin? And in the three-way? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
I think he's saying they haven't announced 77 yet. I didn't think they did, but I just kind of wonder when it was, like July, August, or something like that. But yeah, no, I think that's Dave's definitely onto something there. I think he's crashed for a moment. But that would be ideal. He's back. You're back.
Yeah, I'm back. I think the anniversary show is usually like the last week of August, right before Labor Day. So
yeah,
it was the hottest week in St. Louis that I've ever seen in my whole life.
Yeah, the humidity in St. Louis during the dams, especially the late part of August, right there on the Mississippi, is just fucking unbearable.
Yeah, it was unreal. Listen, Jeremy, I just want you to know that this just came in over 76 was August 31st. There you go. This just came in over the news wire, and I wanted to share this information with you, Jeremy. Look, man, unstoppable. They're just together.
Wow.
Make it happen. Make it happen, UWN. Make this happen.
See what you done did. I told you the effects that this was going to have, man, and it fucking happened. Damn it, Tim.
Oh, guys, I don't know if you saw about R-Truth being released.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Tell us.
Well, WWE, I'm not sure if it was yesterday or today, but he was released. I guess they're not redoing his contract. I don't know if he's working out his contract or if it's just you're gone and by. But if 77 is the last Saturday of August, that would be August, I think, 31st. That would be day 90 if he was released today. So if he has a no compete of 90 days, he could possibly come in for 77. R-Truth, former NWA 10 pounds of gold holder when he was in TNA. So who knows? But I mean, the guy's like in his, I think, 54 or 55. He's up there. I mean,
I think he's 53. Yeah.
I mean, he can still go, but it's one of those things that if push comes to shove and they don't have anybody for 77, bring in a former champion. So if Thom does get the win, he has several wins over several former champions. So it's one of those things of, if push comes to shove, there's somebody that you can bring in, but I'm not sure what the NWA is really doing, and I'm not sure that they know what they're doing.
I had saw that in the Discord that he had been let go. I'd like to see him go back to TNA. That's where he had his most success. I think he can still go. So, give him more in-ring time until he's ready to say that he's done. But also utilize him in a producing role backstage. You know, the man has, 30 years?
Close to.
Close to it. I mean, that's invaluable right there. I made comment of it in the Discord that he definitely would be an asset to TNA right now, who's in a boom period right now. I've been watching. I've had the TNA Plus pass for a little over a year now, I think, and I watch every week. They're really putting out a good product at the moment.
Oh yeah.
So if you're not checking that out, definitely give them a look. They're constantly uploading stuff onto the YouTube channel and shit. So, and it's just $9, $10 a month. Give it a shot for a month. As Papa Joe says, and Aaron Shooter Stevens, give up 2 Starbucks runs for a week and watch some good wrestling.
Yep. Makes sense. It's a bit of a short show today, guys. I'm okay with that because I'm hungry.
Me too.
Let's talk about the socials. Where can they find you, Dave?
You can find me Instagram, Twitter X, and Blue Sky at Dave Scooby.
And my wife texted me, "Yay, short show." I think she's probably hungry too. And what about you, my friend, Championship Wrestling from Jeremy, the purveyor, the manager, the agent of Team Unstoppable? What have you got for us?
Don't you fucking put that on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that on me.
Don't you bring that evil into my house. Anyway.
I can be found on Blue Sky at Alliance Jeremy, and you can find me on Facebook at Jeremy Miller.
I don't have social media currently. You can find Tyrus Silent Williams. I don't know who that is. At Popeye's. Willie's always ready to hear that.
Wait. Doesn't the cavity the cavernous cavity that is Tyrus's belly button act as a alternate Popeye's location?
Yeah, that may be. You may have the Popeyes pop up inside. Listen, I had an idea for a show, guys. My wife doesn't think it's a very good show, but here's my idea for a new Alliance show. And I'm going to ask you about if you're still thinking about one, Jeremy, in a sec. I get a bunch of shots. I'm half serious. I'm not a big drinker, so I can get hammered pretty quickly. And I'll watch whatever I'm told to watch. And every time there's something terrible, I just take a shot and I go, I just calmly do a watch along. And by the end of it, essentially, I'm hammered. We'll call it cheer shots. What do you think, Dave?
Not a bad idea, but it's all subjective. It's depending on what you think is good or what you think is bad.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, so Tim, I don't. You probably watched this growing up as Canadian. You can't do that on television, right?
I have seen the show, yes, when I was a kid.
Okay, so one of the popular thing was don't encourage so-and-so, right? So I'm going to subtly kind of give a nod to that and say that that's a great idea, but instead of alcohol, I recommend this.
Keef.
A weed cola.
Maybe I'll try that out. He has like a drink a year. He's gonna poison himself.
Yeah, I the last few times that I've imbibed, which is very, very rarely, I didn't feel well.
No. So what about? Are you still looking at a show yourself?
Yeah. So I spoke with Jay after last week's show, and I have been given the green light to give it a shot. He brought up a good point that that's a stretch at almost 3 hours of streaming, but I'm going to start piecing together tonight an intro and such, and get working on that tomorrow, and by next week I will have an update for you guys.
Oh, that's amazing. Glad to hear. More content is a good thing. All right,
and also a reason why I want to do this is partially because I want to give people like Willie Bowen the opportunity to vocally air their grievances and their dislike in the live chat for WWE, and but also give the product a shot and an opportunity to look at it now compared to however long ago was it that you actually sat down and watched it.
That's amazing. Now I just want to say one last thing. There is no truth to the rumors that there are subliminal messaging going on in Alliance programming. There's none whatsoever. Jeremy's show certainly won't have any of that either.
Gosh, if I wake up tomorrow and the Mandela effect has taken place, and for some reason now those two are the pillars, one of the 4 pillars of wrestling, I blame you.
You know what? That's fair. That's fair. I will accept that blame. Guys, it's been great. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Until next time, we'll see you at the matches.
Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.